is here in the chat that's still awoke, and it's about 9 o'clock in the evening, and we are talking about Jay-Z's situation. And briefly, just kind of want to get on and talk about that. We've been talking about actually the end of the end of the world as we know it. And a lot of things that we're seeing right now, we are seeing the end of our age, I think. And so that's one of the things that we are actually seeing. And I think it's coming because of the collapse of the American juggernaut, right? You look at America, America is a very, very large country, and there is a lot going on. It's one of the countries that everybody looks at the most, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff going on in our country that we really have to stop and look at. And you know, I've been looking at these Epstein situations, and I know that you have too. Um, and I've been seeing a lot that's going on with this Epstein um, stuff that's coming out. I mean, it's so much coming out day after day. It's very hard to keep up with, right? So I think, in my opinion, it seems like the entire country is coming apart. We're starting to see what this country really is about, right? We're starting to see behind the curtains. If we can pull behind the curtains and kind of look at behind the curtains, we're starting to see that there are some things that are going on, great wickedness among us, right? And someone was saying that again, these Epstein files, people are looking into this, and they had one young lady came on and said Epstein files, Jay-Z, Life Touch, Wayfair, Victoria's Secret, all of these names. And I don't know how this stuff is happening. I don't know whether it's really happening. I don't know whether it's real or it's fake. But I can say this. I can say that there are these people that are pushing the they're driving the bus, right? They're driving the American bus. They're getting weirder and weirder. They're beginning to start look like it. You know how it is where you have this divide between the rich and the poor, the wealthy, the elite, all of the billions of dollars these people have. And then you think about how much money these people have. How did they get this money, that much money? I know that recently Bill Gates came out, and it was supposedly said that Bill Gates was going to be giving money to the to feed the hungry, right? And that was something I've never heard. Bill Gates going to give money to feed the hungry. So it's almost like he's trying his best to change his image, right? I don't know whether Bill Gates has ever invested in people before, but it talks about here that Bill Gates is going to be feeding hungry and children, and he's going to transform the world, right? And that's one of the things that they were saying. And they had it on Facebook. They had it on YouTube coming across there. And it just seems like, oh, okay, well, Bill Gates joins in the fight against hunger rather than, he's been leading the fight on the healthcare situation, which I don't know how anybody of his stature should even be being a health expert. But of course, I don't know. I thought he was a technology person, right? So as we look at this, I'm looking at Beyonce and Jay-Z, right? And they are the latest millionaires, and they're more than just Beyonce and Jay-Z. But they're the latest millionaires that have done that. Hey, Ann, Serve, how you doing? Good to have you out this evening. God bless you. And just stopping in, peeking in, however, you want to hang out for a minute just to talk about this. It's not going to be on long. Of course, I'm just kind of like looking at all of these news articles here, right? And checking it out. And now here it is when it talks about FBI has released the Epstein files, surfaces allegations of naming JZ triggering fan exodus without legal action, right? And so they're saying that in one day there have been 10 million followers, 10 million followers dropped Beyonce and Jay-Z. I mean, let me just say this. On social media, the more followers you have, the bigger deal you are, right? So I can say this too, that I believe in my humble opinion, I believe that people who have these large followings also are given these large followings. I have had people, and I don't know if you've ever had people, but I've had people that pop up on my following that I didn't really follow. I didn't follow them. They just popped up on my following. And that seems to be what happens, right? You can have people just pop up on your following, and it's okay because they are the verified ones, right? They are the people who have the verification. They have all of this, they've got all of the approval. And so what happens when you're not approved? What happens when you're no longer in the cool club? What happens when you get in a situation where, okay, I'm no longer cool, I could lose following? Are they getting ready to get rid of him? That's a big question. Are they getting ready to do something here, right? And so going with this, what it says that there's a newly released Epstein files of 3 million pages. I don't know how they get all these documents. Epstein related documents to the FBI has mentions hip hop mogul Jay-Z named in connection and allegations. And everybody's outraged about this. The Beyonce's followers are outraged. It's kind of hard for me to believe that Beyonce's followers are outraged that much, but could be. They could be. I don't know. Just I'm just kind of like looking at this too. But they're saying that they're outraged. And what else does it say here? Let me go over there. I am on the page for you guys. You can see it good. So it says here the recently released files on January the 30th include the FBI hotline intake report logged in July 2019. In that document, an anonymous caller alleged she was drugged and taken to Epstein's Florida mansion, where she was later woke up in the company of Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein and Jay-Z, which is Sean Carter. The report states she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, reflecting a raw, unnerving account logged by the FBI, emphasizing that such intake reports do not constitute evidence of criminal conduct because it's her word against theirs, right? That's what they're saying. It's her word against theirs. But again, can you imagine Harvey Weinstein and Jay-Z? What a combination. I mean, just to wake up and see that, what a shock. Good golly, Miss Molly. But anyway, legal experts and civil liberty advocates have been clear that the FBI intake notes is far from a verified investigative finding, right? So this is clear. It's far from the verified. They're saying it's not verified. It's just something that they're looking into, right? And intake reports records the information provided by the members of the public and are not substantiated by corroborating evidence, witness interviews, or formal investigation. Unlike flight logs, contact books, and financial documents that have history of being used to map Epstein's network, the mention of Jay-Z and others in this intake report should not be interpreted as proof of association with Epstein's criminal activities. That's what they're saying. And here's the document. All of these redacted names, I like the word redacted or hidden names. They like to hide stuff in plain sight. So the redacted names have been pulled off here. It says Sean Carter, Pushy T have been named in the Epstein file, and Pushy T being identified as the handler of Epstein's victims. Pushy T also attended the parties and drugged the victims before engaging in SA. So that's what they're saying. This is unverified, but there is a document that they are showing in the report. I don't know how they're getting all this stuff, but they got a whole copy of a link right here, issued on January 30th, and it's got a bunch of names on there. Talks about people suffered under Epstein. Understanding the document release, Epstein's File Transparency Act compelled the Department of Justice to publish an extensive cache of materials, including court records, FBI interview notes, emails, and images and videos. But let me just say this, that's not enough evidence. They don't have enough evidence yet, especially, you got a few emails here and there, and you got all of this unverified stuff. That's what they're saying. But you got the big cache of information, though. It says here, including the court records, the FBI interviews, the notes, and the images and the videos from across the investigation spanning more than 2 decades, 20 years. The deputy attorneys and General Todd Blanche announced that the release of more than 3 million pages of materials, adding to the previous disclosure under the act. The government stressed that the files are subject to multiple levels of review and redaction, and to protect the victim's privacy. So these people are victims. And, the victims could be also not just the victims of the girls, but also maybe the victims of just some of these celebrities. That's what they're saying. Kind of sounds like they're trying to say, well, don't get all excited yet. It's just not, Jay-Z may not be a criminal. He hasn't been to court, and obviously, no, that's reasonable. Your man is innocent until proven guilty. But he is taking a plane here. Let me just say this here. He's got a plane and he's leaving the country. Jay-Z has reportedly left the United States to an undisclosed destination. And I got an airplane right here. He's got the jet plane. He got in the plane and he's gone somewhere where they can't find him. Maybe he went to the North or the South Pole. I don't know where he went. But that's what they're saying. Among the newly released materials are records that include unverified tips such as intake reports, questions, and which exit outside the core criminal file and does not necessarily reflect evidence uncovered by investigators. Being mentioned in the file is not a sign of wrongdoing associated with Epstein crime, right? Yeah, so just being mentioned is not a right. So the legal standards for public response. No criminal charge have been filed against Jay-Z, and there is no indication in the Department of Justice public materials that any law enforcement agency has a open investigation or formal investigation into the purported conduct of alleged connection to Epstein. The FBI intake reports, by definition, do not follow the evidentially standards required for indictment or civil action, and may include unverified accounts, rumors, and incomplete narratives. Jay-Z is it's not complete. But again, they did arrest Diddy for having baby oil, but Jay-Z, they don't have enough evidence to convict him, they're saying, of any wrongdoing, right? So it says a lawyer specializing in federal investigation procedure stressed that such raw submission can reflect anything from honest recollection to confusion and misremembered events. Oh, misremembered events. So these events are misremembered. So there are some events that I have here that are just, hey, they just got it wrong. Guys, give a like, and before you go, leave a like on the video. It helps to push it out a little bit more. All right, but anyway, like it says here, that this just misremembered, like whatever, the victim might have just misremembered that Jay-Z was there in the room with Weinstein. That's what they're saying. They're saying Weinstein was there. And then they said the woman woke up and she's woke up, it was Jay-Z and Weinstein. Maybe she just misremembered. And so if she just misremembered and was confused, and maybe she was just too drunk to even know what was going on. And, and she might have even looked up and then, who knows, what could have been Bill Cosby. And Bill Cosby might have been at home, eating Jell-O pudding. I don't know. But I can tell you this, that's what they're saying. They cannot form a basis for legal action. That's what they're saying. Nothing can be done. Public reaction continues to unfold with influencers, commentators, and celebrities weighing in on the discrepancies between the online outrage and the legal reality. So you can be outraged online, and that's what they're saying. They're saying you can be outraged online, but that's not enough evidence to convict you. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Too many people have been prosecuted online before they actually were prosecuted in a criminal court, but it just doesn't seem to stop people from unfollowing you. You can also be banned. Basically, just about anything they want to do to you, especially if you are online and you have a following and that kind of thing. The outrage was more what hurt him. That's what they're saying. It was the online outrage. And I will say this. I will say this. People were so outraged in 2020 when people would leave their house and they were supposed to be in their house, right? So, and that ruined a lot of people. Some people were taking pictures of people leaving their house and then not being at home and on the quarantine thing that they were supposed to be. And then they were prosecuted for that. You know, a lot of people got in trouble, but it wasn't really the law. The law wasn't saying that, oh, well, you know, you were doing something wrong. It really, you got prosecuted online. And sometimes that's going to happen. You can get prosecuted, but that's what they're saying. They're saying there's no need for people to weigh in on these celebrities' activities, because right now the outrage is uncalled for, because it could be rumors, unverified accounts, and even misremembering of the events as told by the victims, right? So the victims could misremember, and so Jay-Z could get off. However, when it came down to Diddy had baby oil. So when you have that baby oil, that's what they had. He had the baby oil. And when Diddy had this baby oil, it was, hey, well, you know, that's enough evidence to convict him. So he went to jail for the baby oil. And he slid his way all the way in there, didn't he? I want to hope they gave him some baby oil while he was in there, because he had a good old time in that jail, I imagine. But that's unverified and maybe even misremembered. How digital platforms amplify the claims irrespective of the verification. So they want to talk about how social media fallout is just crazy. And it says, within hours of the widespread circulation of screenshots and commentaries on X and other platforms, social media and analytics accounts reported significant dips in followers' accounts for Beyonce. So people stopped following Beyonce because they had social media analytics and all of the rest just take their take their money away. I mean, you know, when you got 10 million followers, that equals a lot of money. Can you imagine having 10 million? Is there anybody out there who ever had 10 million followers? Does anybody know anybody? Like, I would love to talk to that person. Maybe I would like to be a friend of that person who had 10 million followers, because 10 million followers. Whoa, Jack. I don't know if Joe Biden had 10 million followers. I don't think, but it could be 10 million followers. And so they lost 10 million followers because they say here it came out on X, the platform, social media, and analytics accounts reported significant dips in followers accounts for Beyonce official Instagram handle, as a phenomenon that was then amplified by fan base page and celebrity gossip accounts. Right. So let's go after these celebrities and these people who are gossiping, rather, these gossips and these fan pages that are not supporting Beyonce. Oh my goodness. And not supporting Jay-Z. And Beyonce is just probably I don't even know why they're coming after Beyonce. Maybe she's a victim. Maybe Jay-Z is a handler. I don't know. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's personal Instagram account also experienced a reported drop of 100,000 followers. That's about all the followers he got done, according to the third-party metrics widely shared online. And major accounts such as Lindsay Lohan, Diddy, Ivanka Trump, Kris Jenner reportedly continued to follow Jay-Z's accounts, while speculation has arisen around other celebrity accounts that allegedly unfollowed him following the document release. However, why would they unfollow him? You wouldn't want to be associated with this man if he is doing the stuff that they say that he's doing online, and that's what one of the things that is happening. Anyway, I got Kevin Alexander, Jay, how you doing? And Beverly Chosen, hello, how are you? You joined, hello, how are you guys doing over here in your universe, in your neck of the woods there? So anyway, it talks about Jay-Z's account while speculation has arisen around other celebrities and their accounts allegedly unfollowed him following the document release, and they don't want to be associated with him. I'm sure when this building is burning, you better run. However, analysts caution that the social media dynamics can fluctuate rapidly and may not be directly attributable to any single news event without independent verification. So we don't really know. That's what they're saying. So all of that and all of this stuff is just crazy. Whoa, boy, I tell you. Well, and again, what do you think? I don't know. What do you guys over here in the comments think? Everybody's talking about it though. Oh, wait a minute. There is one brother over here. Let me see this brother over here. He's talking about it. Let me go over to what he's talking about here and check out what he's saying here. Oh, I gotta get over to the other page. Let's see. Who is this guy here? I listen to him every now and then. What is his name? James Jamal. Okay, James. Let's hear what James has to say about this whole thing. Tell me what you think, James.
Epstein files like that. You got so many. You can throw this. Just go ahead and throw this into the whole. Welcome to 2026. Throw it in there, man. Throw it in there. For Beyonce to be losing like 10 million followers, JZ losing followers, and the NFL unfollowing him, and he works with, that is huge. So it's like, what's going to happen next? Is he going to be removed from his position? This is huge. It is.
Now, he just said something really that's pretty powerful when he said, will he be removed from his position? And, I guess I'm thinking what he's saying from that, and what I gather from that is that these people are selected and they have been put in a position of power and influence by the people who control the world through the puppet strings. Possibly, I don't know. And so that's what they're saying. They're saying that it's a possibility that he could lose his position. Yeah. So the important thing is this: Jay-Z has lost followers. Beyonce is losing followers. And I think the most important thing for us, let's turn it spiritual. We're going to turn it spiritual. Is that we a lot of times follow the wrong people. That, the gospel of Jesus Christ talks about, he said, come follow me. And when he said, come follow me, and he started gathering people to follow him, he didn't tell them to go follow Jay-Z. He didn't tell them to go follow Beyonce. He didn't tell them to go follow all of these various names. Now we're finding out that all of these names that we've been following have actually been the wrong thing, wrong people to follow. Isn't that something? That whatever is done in the darkness will come to light. It's very funny. But this is just the world we live in. Either way, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for stopping by, sharing with me this evening. Share the video. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you have not. And let's keep looking towards the light, the right direction. Let's follow the right people. Let's be sober minded. Because I tell you one thing, people lose their mind over celebrities, right? They lose their mind. At one time, JZ and Beyonce were able to charge $10,000 for a ticket. You know, they were able to charge big money for a ticket. $10,000, $100,000. It didn't matter. People would, people would actually refinance their home just so that they can go to a Beyonce concert. And I'm sure it's not going to stop. I'm sure people are going to continue to worship these people. But here's what we're finding out. We're finding out that there's nobody worthy of following except the Lord Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm going to get off. And if you don't know him, come to know him. Talk to you guys later. God bless.